I still see his eyes when I close mine. Every single night. It was supposed to be a simple drive home, just me, my old truck, and 60 miles of empty desert highway stretching under a sky so big it made you feel like nothing. The sun was setting behind the mountains, painting everything orange and purple. Beautiful, actually. That's what makes it worse somehow. I was doing about 60 when I saw him in my rearview mirror. A motorcycle coming up fast. Real fast. The engine screamed as he passed me, his leather jacket flapping like wings. He gave me a little wave. I waved back. Just two strangers sharing a lonely road. Then everything changed. I don't know what happened. Maybe he hit something. Maybe the tire blew. But his bike suddenly jerked sideways. I watched him fight it, his body twisting, trying to get control. For a second, I thought he'd make it. Then the bike went down. Metal screamed against asphalt. Sparks flew everywhere. The bike tumbled and spun like a toy thrown by an angry child. And him. God. Him. His body ragdolled across the highway, bouncing and sliding and finally stopping about 50 feet ahead of me. I slammed my brakes. The truck screeched and fishtailed. My heart hammered so hard I thought it would burst through my chest. When I finally stopped, the silence was worse than the crash. Just wind. Just my ragged breathing. I jumped out and ran to him. My legs felt like jelly. "Hold on." I shouted, "Hold on, I'm here." He was on his back. His helmet was cracked down the middle, visor shattered. Through the broken pieces I could see his face. Young, maybe 25. Brown eyes wide with terror. Blood trickled from his nose and ears. "Don't move," I said, dropping to my knees beside him. My hands shook so bad I could barely pull out my phone. No signal. Of course no signal. We were in the middle of nowhere. Am I... He tried to speak, but blood bubbled from his mouth. Am I okay? The lie stuck in my throat. His legs were twisted wrong. All wrong. Bones pushed against his jeans in places they shouldn't. Dark blood pooled beneath him, spreading fast across the hot pavement. "You're gonna be fine," I lied. "I'm getting help." I stood up, waving my phone at the sky like a crazy person. 1 bar. Please, God. 1 bar. Nothing. I screamed into the empty desert. No cars. No houses. Nothing but sand and rocks in that dying sun. "Please don't leave me," he whispered. I knelt back down. "I'm not leaving. I'm right here." "It hurts," his voice cracked. "It hurts so bad." I know. I didn't know what to do with my hands. Should I touch him? Hold him? Everything looked broken. "What's your name?" "Kevin." He coughed. More blood. "Kevin Chen." "Okay, Kevin, I'm David. You're gonna be okay, Kevin. Help is coming." Another lie. No help was coming. We both knew it. His breathing got faster, more shallow. Little gasps like a fish out of water. I can't feel my legs. My stomach turned to ice. "That's okay. That's normal. It's shock. Just shock." My mom, tears mixed with the blood on his face. I was going to see my mom, her birthday, chocolate cake. She loves chocolate cake. "You'll see her," I said. "You'll see her real soon." "I'm cold." The desert was still hot. The pavement burned my knees through my jeans, but he was shivering. I grabbed my jacket from the truck and covered him, careful not to move him. His blood soaked through it immediately. "Better?" I asked. He didn't answer. His eyes were unfocused now, looking past me at the sky. "Stars," he mumbled. "So many stars. It wasn't even dark yet." I tried my phone again. Nothing. I ran to the road, looking both ways. Empty. Miles and miles of empty. I screamed for help until my throat was raw. The desert swallowed every sound. When I got back to him, his breathing had changed. Wet and rattling like something was broken inside. Blood ran from the corner of his mouth in a steady stream. "Kevin, stay with me, buddy. Stay with me." "Scared," he whispered. "I'm so scared." "I know." I grabbed his hand. It was cold and slippery with blood. "But I'm here. You're not alone." His grip tightened. Strong at first, then weaker. "Tell my mom. Tell her I tried to be careful. Tell her I was thinking about her." "You'll tell her yourself. Promise me." His eyes found mine, suddenly clear and focused. Desperate. "Promise me you'll find her. Tell her." "I promise." The words came out as a sob. "I promise, Kevin." "Thank you." He smiled. Actually smiled. Blood on his teeth, but he smiled. Glad you were here. Didn't want to be alone. You're not alone. I've got you. His breathing got slower, longer pauses between each breath. I squeezed his hand. Come on, Kevin. Come on. Just breathe. Keep breathing. Getting dark, he whispered. The sun was still up, still light, but his eyes were going dim. Stay with me. I shook his shoulder gently. Kevin, stay with me. Tell her. Love her. Cake. His last breath rattled out. His hand went limp in mine. His eyes stayed open, staring at nothing. No. I shook him harder. No. Kevin? Kevin. I don't know CPR. I mean, I've seen it on TV, but I never learned. I pressed on his chest anyway, counting like they do in movies. His ribs felt wrong under my hands. Was I doing it right? Was I helping or hurting? Come on, come back. I pressed and pressed until my arms burned. His blood covered my hands, my clothes, everything. Please come back. But he was gone. I sat back, shaking. The sun finally set. Stars came out, millions of them, just like he'd said. I stayed with him until headlights finally appeared, almost 2 hours later. An old couple in an RV. The woman screamed when she saw us. The man called 911. The police came. Ambulance came. They asked questions. I answered, but nothing made sense coming out of my mouth. They covered Kevin with a yellow tarp. Yellow seemed wrong. It should have been something else, something dignified. They found his wallet, found his mom's address. I kept my promise. I drove 600 miles to her house 3 days later, stood on her porch with flowers I didn't know how to pick, knocked on her door. She looked just like him. Same brown eyes. She knew before I even spoke. Mothers always know. I told her everything. How he waved at me, how brave he was, how he talked about her, about the chocolate cake, how he wasn't alone, how I held his hand, how his last thoughts were of her. She cried on her porch. I cried with her. She hugged me, thanked me for being there, for keeping my promise. She said it meant everything that he wasn't alone. But I'll never forget the weight of his hand going limp in mine, the sound of his last breath, the stars reflected in his dead eyes, the blood that took 3 washes to get off my skin but will never leave my mind. The engine coughed 3 times before it died completely. I let the steering wheel guide my Honda to the gravel shoulder, my hands shaking as silence replaced the mechanical hum I'd trusted for the last 6 hours. The dashboard clock read 9:47 p.m. My phone showed 1 bar, then none. St. Ames stretched empty in both directions, swallowed by darkness that felt thick enough to touch. Pine trees pressed close on either side, their branches creating a tunnel that blocked even starlight. I'd taken this shortcut to avoid highway traffic, a decision that now sat in my stomach like spoiled food. I tried the engine again. Click, click, nothing. My breath fogged the windshield as minutes crawled past. The temperature was dropping fast. I'd passed my last sign of civilization, a boarded-up gas station, 20 miles back. My winter coat was buried somewhere in my packed trunk, and my thin jacket wouldn't last long in November cold. Headlights appeared in my rearview mirror, growing brighter. Relief flooded through me as a pickup truck slowed and stopped. A man got out, maybe 50 years old, wearing work boots and a flannel shirt. His face seemed kind in my headlights, weathered and friendly. "Car trouble?" he called out, approaching my window. I nodded, rolling it down halfway. "It just died. Won't start." He peered at the Honda, scratching his gray beard. "Probably your alternator. Happens a lot on these older models." He smiled, and I noticed he was missing a back tooth. "I'm Dale. I live just up the road, maybe half a mile. Why don't you come wait at my place while I call Bobby's tow service? Can't fix nothing out here in the dark, and you'll freeze if you stay." Every instinct screamed to refuse, but my fingers were already numb. The thought of sitting in a warming house while help arrived felt too good to pass up. "Are you sure? I don't want to impose." "No imposition at all. My wife Sophia would have my hide if I left someone stranded out here. Come on, grab your things." I hesitated, then took my purse and phone, locking the car behind me. Dale's truck was older but clean, with a child's drawing taped to the dashboard. That detail relaxed me. A family man. Someone safe. The house appeared suddenly, set back from the road among dense trees. It was a 2-story farmhouse, paint peeling, but lights glowed warmly in the windows. As we pulled into the dirt driveway, I noticed there were no other houses visible, no neighbors, nothing but woods pressing in from all sides. "Sophia's probably already asleep," Dale said, unlocking the front door. "She turns in early, but make yourself comfortable." The living room was cluttered but not dirty. A worn couch faced an old television. Books covered every surface. The air smelled like coffee and something else, something chemical I couldn't place. Dale gestured to the couch. Sit, let me get you some water and call Bobby." As he disappeared into the kitchen, I noticed the photographs covering one wall. Dozens of them, all similar, people standing next to broken-down cars. Different people, different vehicles, but all taken on the same stretch of road. The same dark trees in the background. Some photos were old, their colors faded. Others looked recent. My pulse quickened. I stood up, moving closer. In each photo, the person smiled, but their smiles looked forced, uncomfortable. A young woman with a backpack, an elderly couple, a businessman in a suit, all of them strangled motorists, captured on San Ames. "That's my hobby," Dale's voice came from behind me, making me jump. He held a glass of water, but his smile had changed. It no longer reached his eyes. "I like to document the people I help. You'd be surprised how many folks break down right around here." "That's a lot of people," I managed, my throat dry. 37 over the years," he said proudly. "This road is tough on vehicles. The cold, the potholes, things just give out." He handed me the water. "Bobby says he'll be here in about an hour. Storm's making roads slow." I took the glass but didn't drink. My eyes found a gap on the wall, a rectangle of cleaner paint where a photo had hung recently. Dale noticed me looking. "Just making room for new memories," he said softly. I needed to see a phone. I needed proof he'd actually called. "Can I use your bathroom?" "Sure, down the hall, first door on the right." I walked slowly, scanning for exits, for weapons, for anything useful. The hallway was narrow, lined with more photos. In the bathroom, I locked the door and tried my phone again. Still no signal. I turned on the faucet to mask noise and searched the cabinet. Nothing but towels and toiletries. Through the small window above the toilet, I could see the side yard. And there, clearly visible in the porch light, was the phone line coming from the pole. It had been cut, the severed ends dangling loose. My heart hammered against my ribs. He'd never called anyone. There was no Bobby. There was no wife Sophia sleeping upstairs. I flushed the toilet and washed my hands, forcing my face into calmness. When I opened the door, Dale stood in the hallway, blocking my path back to the living room. "You saw the phone line," he said. It wasn't a question. I ran. I shoved past him, heading for the front door, but he was faster than his age suggested. His hand caught my jacket, yanking me backward. I screamed, twisting, my fist connecting with his jaw. He grunted, but didn't let go. "They always run," he said, almost sadly. "Why do they always run?" I drove my knee upward, catching him between the legs. His grip loosened and I tore free, stumbling toward the door. My fingers found the lock, twisted it, pulled. The cold night air hit my face as I burst onto the porch. The truck keys. He had the truck keys. My car was dead. I ran anyway, feet pounding down the gravel driveway toward the road. Behind me, the front door slammed open. "There's nowhere to go," Dale shouted. "Nearest house is 8 miles. You'll freeze." He was right, but stopping meant whatever happened to those 37 people in the photos. I pushed harder, my lungs burning, legs pumping. I reached the road and turned right, away from my car, running blind into darkness. Footsteps crunched gravel behind me, steady and patient. He wasn't running. He was walking, conserving energy, hunting. I veered into the trees, branches whipping my face, roots grabbing at my feet. The forest floor was carpeted in pine needles that muffled my steps. I crouched behind a thick trunk, hand clamped over my mouth to silence my gasping breaths. The footsteps stopped. I know you're close, Dale called out. I've used woods 1,000 times. You're on my land. There are bear traps scattered around here. Haven't checked them all in months. You might want to be careful where you step. Terror crystallized into focus. Bear traps. God. I couldn't see anything in the darkness. Every step might be my last. I stayed frozen, mind racing. Then I heard it. A car engine in the distance, growing louder. Headlights swept across the road. Someone was coming. I burst from the trees, screaming, waving my arms. The car, a sedan with an older couple inside, screeched to a halt. The woman's window lowered. Please help me. That man tried to. Dale emerged from the woods, his face transformed into concern. Thank God, he ran from my house. I think he's having some kind of episode. I was trying to help him with his car. He's lying. I grabbed the woman's door handle. Call 911. He cut his phone line. There are photos. The couple exchanged uncertain glances. Dale looked like somebody's grandfather, disheveled from the chase, but sincere. I looked wild, scratched, hysterical. Check his house, I begged. Wall of photos, stranded motorists. Please. Something in my voice reached the woman. She pulled out her phone, fingers shaking as she dialed. We're calling the police, she told Dale firmly. Let's just wait for them to sort this out. Dale's mask slipped. For just a second, I saw rage flash across his face before he controlled it. Of course, he said tightly. Whatever makes everyone comfortable. The police took 40 minutes to arrive. By then, 3 more cars had stopped, creating witnesses Dale couldn't eliminate. The officers found everything: the cut phone line, the wall of photographs, the basement room I'd never seen with chains bolted to the floor and a camera on a tripod. They found graves in the woods, 37 of them. I learned later that Dale had been loosening lug nuts on cars that passed his property, causing breakdowns exactly where he wanted them. The helpful local routine had worked for 15 years. The photos weren't just documentation. They were trophies. And that empty space on the wall had been waiting for my picture. I should have known something was wrong when the flowers arrived with my coffee order. My name is Fiona Davis, and I'm an aspiring actress. That morning, I'd ordered coffee through an app, like I did every day. But when the delivery guy handed me the cup, there was a small bouquet of daisies taped to it. My favorite flowers. The ones I'd never told anyone about, except my dead grandmother. The note said, "Break a leg at your audition today, Fiona. You're going to be amazing." I had an audition that day. I hadn't told anyone except my agent. When I got home, there was a congratulations card in my mailbox. You got the part. But I hadn't gotten the part yet. They hadn't even called my agent. The card had arrived before the decision was made. My agent called an hour later. I got the part. The messages kept coming. They arrived in different ways. A text from an unknown number, a note tucked into my gym bag, an email from an account that didn't exist. Wear the green sweater tomorrow. It brings out your eyes. Your mom is going to call at 6:47 p.m. She's worried about you. Don't take the subway on Thursday. There's going to be a delay. Every single prediction came true. When I wore the green sweater, the director complimented it and gave me an extra scene. My mom called at exactly 6:47. The subway had a 2-hour delay on Thursday. Then I got the message that changed everything. Be careful with Steve. He's not who he says he is. Steve was my new scene partner. Handsome, charming, always professional. We'd been rehearsing together for 2 weeks, and he'd asked me out for coffee. I liked him, but the message made me pause. I did some digging online. I reverse searched one of his photos and found it belonged to a fitness model. The real Steve was someone else entirely. Someone with a criminal record for fraud and an identity theft. I reported him to the production company. They fired him immediately. He'd been planning to scam the whole cast. I'd been his main target. That's when I realized something terrifying. This stalker wasn't just watching me. They were protecting me, and they knew everything about my life. I went to the police, but what could I tell them? Someone sending me helpful messages. I had no evidence of danger, no threats, nothing illegal. The messages became more personal, more intimate. You cried yourself to sleep last night? I wish I could hold you. You look beautiful even when you think you don't. I know you feel alone, but you're not. I'm always here. They knew when I was sad, when I was happy, when I was scared. They knew everything, and I knew nothing about them. I became paranoid. I checked my apartment for cameras every single day, but found nothing. I changed my phone, my passwords, my email. The messages still came. Then I got the one that made my blood stop. Tomorrow at 3:15 p.m., a man in a red jacket is going to follow you home. Don't let him. Go into the store on 5th Street. Stay there for exactly 20 minutes. Trust me. The next day at 3:15, I saw him. A man in a red jacket walking 30 feet behind me. When I sped up, he sped up. When I slowed down, he slowed down. I ran into the store on 5th Street. My heart was pounding so hard I thought I'd faint. The man in the red jacket walked past, looked through the window, then kept going. After 20 minutes, he was gone. I got a message immediately. I'll always keep you safe, Fiona. Always. That night, my phone buzzed again. You want to know who I am? Meet me tomorrow at the park. Noon. By the fountain. Come alone, and you'll finally understand everything. I knew I shouldn't go, but I was drowning in questions. I needed answers more than I needed air. I went to the park at noon, but I wasn't stupid. I had my friend Jenna positioned at a cafe across the street, phone ready to call 911. I wore a small voice recorder in my jacket pocket. The fountain was in the center, water sparkling in the sunlight. I stood there, searching every face. Then I saw her, a woman about my age, sitting on a bench 50 feet away. She was staring at me. She stood up slowly and started walking toward me. She looked vaguely familiar, dark hair pulled back, glasses, wearing a theater tech crew jacket. She stopped 10 feet away, her hands shaking. I'm Sarah, she said quietly. Sarah Mitchell. We went to acting school together. You probably don't remember me. I searched my memory. Sarah Mitchell. Yes. She'd been in a few of my classes, always quiet, always in the back. We'd never really talked. I remember you, I lied. What is this? How have you been doing this? She laughed, but it sounded broken. You really don't remember me, do you? We were scene partners once, just once. You were brilliant, as always. I thought if I studied you, I could be like you, so I started watching. My skin crawled. Watching? At first, it was just your social media. Then I learned about data scraping, hacking, social engineering. I work in IT security now. It's frighteningly easy to access someone's entire digital life. She pulled out her phone, showing me screens I recognized, my email, my calendar, my location history. I've had access to everything for 2 years. I felt sick. The predictions? There were no predictions, she said flatly. I read your emails and texts. I knew about your audition because I saw it in your calendar. I knew your mother would call because I read her text saying she'd call after work. The subway delay was announced on the MTA website the night before, and the man in the red jacket, I hired him, paid him $50 to walk behind you so I could save you. The world tilted. Steve? That one was real. I did find out he was a fraud, basic background check services. It just fit perfectly into my narrative. Why? I whispered. Why would you do this? Her eyes filled with tears. Because I loved you. Because I wanted to be important to you. Do you know what it's like to be invisible your whole life? I thought if I could make myself indispensable, if I could be the person who protected you, who knew you better than anyone, maybe you'd finally see me. I took a step back. You're insane. I know. She was crying now. I know, and I'm sorry. I deleted everything yesterday. All my access, all my programs, all the data. I came here to tell you it's over, and to tell you I'm turning myself into the police. What I did was illegal. I should have felt relieved. Instead, I felt hollow. How much did you see? Everything, she whispered. Every email, every text, every photo, every private thought you ever typed. I know you better than anyone in your life, and you never knew I existed. The police are already on their way, I said, pulling out my phone. I called them before I came. Her face crumpled, but she nodded. Good. That's good. I couldn't bring myself to do it alone. The police arrived within minutes. Sarah didn't resist. She confessed to everything. The hacking, the surveillance, the harassment. It turned out she'd done this to 2 other actresses before me. She was charged with multiple counts of computer fraud, stalking, and identity theft. The trial was long and exhausting. The defense tried to paint her as harmless, as mentally ill, as someone who never meant real harm. But the prosecution showed the extent of her intrusion. Years of surveillance, thousands of stolen files, complete access to my digital existence. She was sentenced to 4 years in prison,